How did it feel to have Tori back?
Well, love having her back, especially in light of having Olivia Thomas out. So to get her back was great. So scored a wonderful goal, but also she was dangerous the whole time. Although she blocked a great shot from Sentinor that could have been in if she hadn't been in the way. So maybe overall she ends up nullifying the goal she scored because she blocked one of Sentinor. So I'll be chatting with her about that. But I'm joking. Yeah, it's great having her back. Her mobility is getting better and better and better. She's a wonderfully creative player. She's starting to solve some of her possessional problems in midfield by keeping it for us, playing simply, and her game's being elevated. And so to have her back from Italy and so active and excited, we love having her back.
She seemed to bring a lot of energy when she came in.
She does. There was a moment where I think we cleared it out, and she was on a full sprint to basically prevent the other team from serving a ball into our box. And so that sort of commitment and passion she's playing with is really enjoyable to see because she's improving. But there are a lot of players whose games are jumping. Sentinor continues to just impress. I mean, she's on a run of form that is just absolutely wonderful. So I really enjoy watching her elevation. And another excellent player today was Evelyn Shores. She got us on the board early, and then the way she's playing the double six right now is extraordinary. I mean, you couldn't pick her out as well. Who are the freshmen out there that are starting? You wouldn't have said, well, yeah, this girl has to be a freshman. No, she's playing at a very sophisticated level. She had a great change of point that resulted in another goal. She got the ball and somewhere there and just pinged it. And I think it resulted in one of our 4 goals. And so she's playing at a completely different level too. But the most fun for us is we got to play a lot of players. And the other thing I'm very proud of, and I put this right at the feet of Damon Nahas, we basically played 3 units tonight. And every one of the units played the game. They played with good tempo. They played with an excellent level of teamwork. And there's a lot of stuff that he's doing right now in training that are exceptional, but also his video sessions, I think, are different level. And I really appreciate the sophistication that our kids are playing with right now. I'm very excited about certainly the result tonight, but also the way we're playing.
What was your mindset coming in after the frustrating tie on Sunday?
Well, everyone's asking me. Well, I think you guys asked me, am I being triggered? No. Soccer coach. No, I'm not triggered. I really, honestly, with the exception of the fact they scored in the last couple seconds, and having it be my fault because the shape of our corner kick defense is my responsibility, and I didn't do that properly. With the exception of that, I love the way we played against Florida State. Florida State traditionally, when Mark Krikorian was there, even if we would beat them, they would have a better possessional percentage than we would have. And I think in that particular game, we were like at 58, and they were at 32, or 42, or whatever it is. Yeah, 42. Excuse my math. So I was very excited about the fact that we're really doing a good job in possession. And the same thing with tonight. We basically ended up, as I said, playing 3 units, and every unit played the game at a very high level.
And you held them shotless in the second half. What was the difference after the first 20 minutes of the game?
Well, the tempo of the game is very high. So if a team stays with our tempo, they're going to eventually fatigue. And so obviously we have the luxury of playing a deep bench. And when the bench comes in, to some extent, the tempo gets even faster because of the pace of Maddie Darlene and Kate Fossey. So when we sub those 2 kids in on the 11 and the 7, holy cow, those outside backs, they're thinking, oh my gosh, and these are the reserves? I mean, they're wondering, what the heck is going on with our roster? So I think a combination of our tempo tired them out a bit. And I think, and the way we were playing, I think killed their spirit a bit. Because I'll be honest with you, I was very impressed with the way Tim's team was playing. They're trying to play. They've got some real talent. Number 15 is absolutely legit. She'll be in my first 11 for my conference voting. She's an absolutely outstanding player. And I thought number 4, who's a former striker, did a very good job at right back. So I thought there were some good players out there. And of course, a former player of ours is out there, and Lexi Strickland, a kid I really like and really like her family. And she comes with wonderful energy, and she showed that again tonight against us. So I really respect the way that Tim tries to play, because he plays the game at a high level. And I thought the crowd tonight was exceptional, which is why I wish we could work it out so that we would play one conference game against NC State. If the conference game is here, then let's have NC State come to us in the non-conference so we can attract these kinds of crowds. So obviously we were a part of delivering this crowd for NC State, but then we would love for them to deliver our crowd for us. And we'd also like to have the same relationship with Duke. And especially now that we're going to be flying all over the country now with the addition of Stanford, SMU, and Cal. Let's figure out a way to have consistent games, home and away, against Duke and NC State, because rivalries build sports. And I hope Tim, and Robbie's already into it. Robbie and I have done this before, but if we can get Tim to do it along with Robbie, our budgets will be better, because we'll have high RPI games with Duke and NC State twice a year, which would be great. Have only one of them count towards the conference, but I think building a rivalry for our game against excellent teams like NC State and Duke, I think will certainly help us build our game.
You had 10 corners on Sunday, didn't score off any of them, and then the first one here, you score off of. What y'all practice on,
Well, we actually practiced it, but we rarely practice it. I always have this wrestling match with myself about freshness and checking every box. But after FSU exposed us, basically had 3 corner kicks and scored twice, and as you said, we had 10, we didn't score once. We got to the back to the drawing board, and we redesigned it. Again, we took Avery Patterson, who's a fabulous header, and sent her to the near post. And the change we made was to put the freshman, Evelyn Shores, on the back post. And so again, this is a part of Damon Nahas's genius to shift around our corner kick a bit. And sure enough, I think that may even have been our first corner, and to score off it out of the gate after we worked on it a bit. Although most of the work was done for defensive purposes, since we gave up 2 out of 3 against FSU, and of course going back to the UCLA game. So that was something we felt we had to work on.
Yeah, you headed in a lot of corners for Torrey last season, but you haven't really done it this season until tonight, heading in a corner.
Yeah, and you're right. Tori Hansen was wonderful. The amount of goals she scored last year between her penalty kick opportunities and her headers on set pieces were wonderful. We have a similarly outstanding header in Macy Bell. I think to some extent she's been a bit unlucky, but obviously they target her. No one knew anything about Tori, because this is the first time she got to play a lot, was in her senior year. But everyone knows Macy Bell, so trust me, she's marked on everything, which is a compliment to her, but then it makes it more difficult. But last year, Tori came in, didn't play her much, so she didn't really get to showcase herself, and then people were adjusting, oh my gosh. And then eventually, obviously, she was tracked and marked.
Yeah, Allie on her goal pretty much went, by herself against the entire NC State defense. I mean, is that just purely her, her talent, or does that come from having a futsal background?
The power of her strike doesn't come from futsal. The way she navigates her game to get off the strike, however, does. So her feet are so quick, and her skill set is so outstanding. That comes from futsal. The power of her strike is, if you watch this kid every day, she wakes up in the morning and she probably says to herself, what am I going to do today to become a better soccer player? And then she gets to work. She's one of, because I love player development and watching kids improve, I love coaching Allie Sentinel. It's almost like, she comes with her hard hat on and her lunch pail, and she gets to work. And I've been using her as an example for so much of my roster. Maddie Darlene also has similar potential as an attacking personality. And whenever Maddie's standing next to me, I say, look at what Sentinel's doing. So while the rest of the team is, dancing around, Sentnor's working on some aspect of her game with the ball by herself in between training environments in our practices. She's always working on something. And so she's a consummate, ambitious, hard-working kid, and she has earned absolutely everything she's gotten in this game, especially in light of the adversity she had when she got here. In our first scrimmage, she tears her ACL against UNCW. And then last August, and I kept trying to let her know that, ACL recovery is 18 months. And so in August, there is no comparison between where she was in August when we were playing her last year and where she is now. She's just an absolute joy to coach.
I mean, what does it mean that she's playing this well? Just, 24 months maybe from the ACL injury.
Well, it's to her credit. I mean, she does the work. She eats properly. I'm sure she gets 9 hours sleep every night, but she doesn't ignore her academic platform. She's a good student. She lives our core values. We've got 13 core values that we expect all the kids to live by. She lives by them. She's a great example for anyone that wants to get to higher and higher levels. She was our leading scorer along with Darlene in U20 World Cup qualifying. I mean, she's checking every box, and the way she's playing now, I bet every coach right now starts screaming whenever she gets the ball, don't let her shoot, don't let her shoot, don't let her shoot. Because I know if I was playing against her, that's exactly what I would be yelling.
Which one of the core values do you think she most exemplifies?
Be a force of fortune instead of a feverish, selfish little cloud of ailments and grievances, complaining the world will not devote itself to making you happy. She is a force of frigging fortune.
That's all I have.
All right. Thanks, Anson.
Thanks,
Okay.
Coach.